Welcome back, everybody, to the Genesa ThoughtLab podcast. I am Callie.
I'm Tanner Cherry. This is another one of the episodes, or I guess the first one we're releasing from Astral Harvest 2016.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we for this episode, we sat down with our friend Jordan, a.k.a. Flavours.
Yeah, Flavours from Edmonton, Alberta.
We had him in town for our New Year's event last year.
No, it's not true.
The Astral Harvest pre-party. Yeah, you're right.
That was a while ago, though.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it's actually been a while since we've crossed paths with Jordan, too. I think it was this podcast last time we saw him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, coming full circle. These episodes are late, but we figured we'd leave them on kind of the sideboard and release them closer to the festival to kind of hype things up. So.
Yeah. And Astral Harvest on its own, we are so absolutely excited to get back there and get our feet on home stomping grounds. It was Astral Harvest that kind of gave us our main boost getting started. So super happy to be involved.
Thank you to Astral Harvest. You guys are amazing.
Shout outs to Astral. A couple things we want to mention. We have a GoFundMe campaign running right now for our good friend Steven Squiggle Cow.
Squiggle Cow.
Sigil Cow. Either way, his super busted piano that happened at our last show. We'll include the links in our show notes if you guys feel like giving a little bit of a donation. Anything helps, even just to share the page. We're halfway to our goal to be able to replace the money that he lost to buy out that piano.
Yep.
So that's good. What else do we got?
Schwack City.
Schwack City. This episode has been brought to you by our good friends over at Schwack City. All of your rave wear clothing needs.
Oh, geez, you're just selling it.
You're just selling really good.
Yeah. No, it's basically what you would find on site at a festival in regards to vendors, like artisan vendors. Mm-hmm. They're kind of compiling a hub, like a website that all of that stuff is going to be available online. So.
You want blow-up T-Rex costumes? They're your guys. You want some flashy-ass fucking sunglasses? That's all them.
Yeah,
super crazy, colorful booty shorts? Schwackcity.com.
That's on top of all the local stuff that's going to be hosted as well.
That too.
Yeah. So, I think it's just schwackcity.com.
Yep.
Check it out.
CHWACK.
Check it out. I think they have a promo code, Genesa.
Yeah, promo code Genesa gets you 10 to 15% off. We're really bad at this. This is how we advertise.
Haven't checked in on it in a while. And what else? I guess, catch us at Astral Harvest this year, Caliuga and the Genesa Project. We're playing at 9:45 to 11 p.m. Our debut set at Wakachan just before K-Lab.
Just before K-Lab. Yeah. Moving into the night, making waves.
Yeah. Aside from that, if you haven't checked out Flavours, I mean, if you're local in the Alberta scene, you know Flavours because he's just incredible and his performance-ship is just mind-boggling.
Plus a super humble guy to boot. Really love sitting down and chatting with him.
Yeah, which you'll find out in the next, I think this was a short one. I think it was only like a half hour. But I think it was after one of the ones that we did where we had consumed a sufficient amount of tequila.
Yep, we were already there.
Yeah. So enjoy, guys. This is Flavours and Astral Harvest 2016. See you guys later. Genesa ThoughtLab podcast.
Live. That was organic.
I know, right?
Dude, we were actually having problems like 10 episodes ago. We dive in and then we try and figure out okay, what am I gonna say? What are you gonna say?
You get super microphone shy.
Just get retarded and weird about it, and then we'd have to just walk away.
You kind of have to forget.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Just kind of have to just turn it on and just be like, fuck off, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the deer in headlights look at when people act.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as it's action, it's people kind of freeze. It's just you have to kind of ignore it, right?
But it's different. Sitting in front of microphones and talking face to face is one thing. The microphone is still there, but talking into a microphone in front of a camera is completely
Yeah, see, here's the thing,
different.
like on stage, like I get microphone anxiety because when you pick up the microphone and you turn it on and you get everyone's attention, all of a sudden you have like 200 eyes. Like, right, it's so different than this, like talking to someone across the table.
Just imagine everybody naked. It's way sexier that way.
Well,
Unless
it doesn't work because I
Unless-
always
that makes you more nervous.
I do that as a baseline, so it doesn't really work as like a...
No.
Anyway, introductions.
Yes.
All right, I'm Tanner. This is
I'm Callie. Hi.
And we're sitting down with Jordan Andrews, motherfucking Flavours.
Yes, sir.
We brought him
Yes,
up
sir.
on recommendation of Jim Vanderhorst. He was like, man, you need to bring Jordan out for one of your shows for the Astral Harvest pre-party last year. And I mean, no disrespect to fucking Crazy Daylight. He played a killer set, but I think you stole the show that night.
absolutely.
You were my
Yeah.
favorite set. And like
Awesome.
that's absolutely no knock against his set. Like I feel like there was killer music, but I was thoroughly impressed by
Awesome, man.
what you threw down. I mean, we've played your music before. We've been just like utterly impressed. But
Nice, man.
I mean, number one, to see you perform. Number two, you're just like, you're super casual, super chill, just absolutely a total
You know
gem.
what's funny? Like, especially with us throwing shows, like driving artists from the airport, and like we bring all of our favorite artists. Like, you hold your people on like such a high pedestal, like all of your like inspirations
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
sometimes.
Even if they're not that
Totally.
famous or whatever, you hold people on a super high pedestal, and then you meet them and realize that they're just as human as you are.
Oh, totally,
You
yeah.
know?
I think that's like one of the coolest aspects of meeting someone that you look up to, right?
Yeah.
It's like how down to earth.
It humanizes it, man. Like you
100%.
You
Yeah.
run into that wall where you're like, oh, okay, I fucked up. I put this person like, I made them seem like they were somewhat more than human.
Well, we had a really amazing experience with Evoke the first time that we brought him.
Yeah.
He was like super down to hang out, like chilled with us for the entire time, became really good friends, and then after that experience, we brought Mr. Bill, kind of expecting the same sort of thing,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Super
they
excited.
have their hotel, they can choose to go back to it if they want.
Yeah.
Mr. Bill was like a lot more reserved in his
reclusive.
experience and
Right.
like didn't have that same connection that we shared.
Right.
You know?
I always try to like trip out about like, because like I do always want to be like, I don't ever want to have an ego or anything in this kind of
keep it
this
in check.
industry. Yeah, exactly, right. And I have my parents as like good role models for that, because I don't know if you know, but they're both professional musicians.
Oh,
And
really?
So yeah,
That's cool.
And actually, my dad, he's considered like one of Canada's best jazz piano players.
Really?
so
That's
into, like,
awesome.
What's his name?
Yeah.
What is he?
Chris Andrew.
Chris
Yeah,
Andrew?
and actually, the main trio I like to tell people about is called the Hutchinson Andrew Trio, and they won Jazz Fest, Montreal Jazz Fest in like 2013, I
Whoa,
think.
Montreal's like a really
Yeah,
prestigious. Like,
they're
musical
heavy.
environment.
Like it was really good, and so. But anyways, like anyone who's met my dad has always been like that. Is like he's a very chill dude.
man.
Like again, the
Yeah.
same thing, more about a personal thing than not like
It
trying
takes
to
a certain
hold yourself
amount.
above anyone.
It takes a certain amount of humility, like, to be respected as a performer. Like, you meet performers, like, super, like, crazy,
yeah.
famous DJs that just, like, come across as, like, yo, like, I'm the fucking shit.
I
Like,
know,
look at
it's
me.
so corny.
Look at
In
all
the
these
end, it's all-
bitches on my shoulder or whatever. But then, like, when you meet a
Yeah.
person, like, as a human experience, you gain so much more community from it, and people
Yeah.
who actually, like, want to come and see you more
Yeah,
so
I feel
from
like
that.
Totally.
the ones that give you a humble vibe are more inspiring. They actually like encourage you to be a musician or like
Yeah.
to put yourself
Totally,
out there
yeah.
more.
Like, I struggle with my ego on a constant basis. Like, I always grew up like wanting to be a performer and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, grew up with a fairly huge ego. This guy keeps me in check a lot. He's
Well,
a
there's like
humble
a-
motherfucker.
There's like a fine balance between like ego and then also just attention and like what
Yeah.
you want.
Well, but like your ego is what drives you to constantly be better, especially as an artist. You
Yeah.
need a certain amount of ego to be like, I can be better than that.
Totally, yeah.
You know, even like drawing inspiration from other artists, like I can do that but better. And
There's no
that's
such thing
healthy.
as no ego, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just have to learn like what the relationship.
All
you
the new
hold
age
with
hippies
that
just
is.
being like,
Yeah.
ego is the devil. It's like, no, you need a little bit of it.
Well, my buddy, we were just talking before I played, and he was like, we were just having a brief conversation about this, and he's just like, oh, it's actually like, it's in.
It's there.
No, it's
gotta
it's
talk
just
a little
heavy,
closer.
but
Oh, it's just
probably stuck. I mean, we might have spilled tequila earlier. It's probably stuck to the table.
You're
It's
talking
good?
to
Yeah.
your buddy? Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking with my buddy, and we were just same thing, like kind of little headspaces about this type of stuff, and he was like, everyone should learn how to fall in love with sharpening their pencil, like their main tool, right? And like if you could fall in love with that, like you are already golden as an artist. Like that's like the practice is what's most important.
And then you think
right?
about the pencil, and then realize that you have markers and pens and Sharpies.
Yeah, but it's the concept of just like honing the foundation of your craft, right? Just like
yeah. But the part I want to bring up about that is like sometimes because I always want to be, you know, like make sure I'm in check. But then sometimes I'll be traveling and I'll have that day where it's like, oh, I do just want to go back to a hotel and like nap or like whatever. And then I wonder how often that is for like big artists, and like if they were always like that, or if it's just maybe you caught them in a bad moment, or they really are just like, no, fuck you. I don't
you got to look out for yourself, right? Like if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. You can't can't.
Well, one thing that I know about myself is like, especially like at the very end of festivals when I'm super tired, like when everybody does, they're like, they need to go around and hug absolutely every single person that they know before they say goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm always in that mode where it's like, okay, yeah, like I'll see you, like please don't touch me, like I'm in my zone right now, like I'll see you later. It's not like it's goodbye forever kind of thing. You respect your own needs, like you still respect the people that like want to give you love, but if you're not in the space to be able to accept that love, like other people need to accept that too.
There's days that she just like fucks off and she's just like, I don't want to touch anyone.
I don't want to people.
Like no hugs.
I can't human right now.
Yeah, no, it's weird that like there's like the independent, codependent, like how often that changes in anything, right?
Yeah. Well, and also like even just in general, the name game. You're really good at the name game. Like you know, being a performer and like kind of being in the spotlight, you meet a lot of people all the time, and it doesn't matter what tools in your brain you try to use to remember every single person. You just never will.
You just can't. Yeah.
Some people are better at it than others. I'm really fucking awful for it.
It's so weird. Like I bartend back at home, and like that's a prime example of like meeting people constantly, and like it just goes through.
I feel like you'd be good at that.
I do have some tricks in you know on my sleeve of like how to remember, but also sometimes I just remember like I'll remember the appetizer they ate and the drink. Then
you remember the experiences, but just not the
like
name.
The conversation, right?
Although so like if somebody comes up to me and they introduce themselves as like some super weird crazy name, then I'll remember that. But if you're like a Steve or a Bob or a John or
where
something.
do you bartend? Like
it's at one of the Joey's back in Edmonton.
Joey's?
Yeah.
All right, so go bug Jordan at Joey's in Edmonton.
Yeah, Joey Mayfield.
I used to work for the Salt Lake.
7 days a week, and
I used to work for the Salt Lake.
That's a really shitty plug. We're open 7 days a week.
Same company as Joey's. I work for the Salt Lake. It's like a fancy steakhouse in Calgary.
Yeah. It's good. Like we actually have a really good crew. Like there's a bunch of them that are here, and everyone's just down to earth. Sometimes at those restaurants you can get like some pretentious people who are like really into themselves, but I lucked out, man. Like I trusted a lot of people who told me to come work there. Yeah. And sure enough, we have one of the best reputations. The Joey's Corporation
is a super interesting thing. Like
it is.
You know, like it's still definitely a corporation, and they breed, the brand and everything and all of their mentality. But I find that like anybody else that I've ever related to that like works for Joey's, like they still breed like kind of a family experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so if you have a good crew, I always look at it this way: like if you're like whether it's school, like mainly post-secondary, or like restaurant biz. Those are two main examples. Like when you're going through hardship, that's when you like really bond with some people, right? And restaurant work is a fucking hardship. Like, you like really become family at the end of those those shifts, right?
No,
and so the same thing with like exam time in school, where it's like, how is that person not your homie after that? That maybe that's that family thing.
Well, and especially like post-secondary, like when you're in like elementary and junior high, and like even most of the way through high school, like you're just kind of in there because you're told that's what to do. You don't really care. Yeah. As soon as you go into post-secondary and college and university and stuff like that, that's when you actually choose.
Totally.
Like,
and then,
this is something that I'm passionate about learning about. Like, you're in junior high school or high school, and you're like, why the fuck do I need to know trigonometry? Like, when the fuck am I gonna know this?
Speaking of choosing a path,
well, I use trig like 8 times a day.
Okay, I don't.
But I'm Asian.
Anyway, speaking of choosing your path. When did you pick up a record? Like, when did you start fucking with turntables? Because I don't know if, like, for the listeners that haven't seen you perform or seen your craft, like, you're very much Edmonton's JFB. Like,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Wow. JFB is so on a higher level, but one day
he's a ninja.
He is absolutely
of his craft, but like, this is what you are setting out to accomplish. It's like the same path, right? And like, where did that start for you?
Where it all kind of started, I was really into trance music, had CDJs.
No, I'm just kidding.
Honestly, like listening to some of those tunes, it's like, why was I so infatuated with this
I
stuff?
started
Like,
with hardstyle and like Anger Fist, so.
It's just weird, and then
Shame.
it's funny because like I just got into it more for I really did get into it more for like the spotlight, like looking at someone like Armin van Buuren playing in front of like 20,000 people. It's like, that looks so cool.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
You know, and I've always wanted attention. I
Yeah.
want to be on a stage or something, or
Yeah.
a camera, or whatever it
Performance
was.
shit, right?
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. And so then I remember my mom was dating this guy at the time, and he was like, why don't you get into like scratching or anything like that? And I completely blew it off. I'm like, no. I'm like,
Yeah.
no one does that in trance. You don't know trance music. Leave me alone. And then I started, when I first started DJing in clubs, I was 17 and I was around all these really good Edmonton dudes, and actually one of them played right before me, Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
And all those guys use
He was fun.
turntables. Oh fuck, he's like they're all so good, and like
Yeah.
Jake especially is like, I owe a lot to him for at the very beginning groundwork and me getting my foot into that industry.
Yep.
And they all use turntables, and they're mixing like so fast, and like I could see like they just noticeably had more fun doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden it's like, shit, I need to get records. I shouldn't use these CDJs. It's boring. And my music taste started to change. And then once I did get turntables, my really good friend Jeremy, he's like one of Canada's best scratch DJs, like 100%. And he's like pretty unknown except for the people who really are in that
What does
community.
he go by?
Doberman, but he doesn't even really have a real name. Like it's
Okay.
like he doesn't compete. He's
He
just
does
that
it
guy.
for him.
Yeah, he's that guy
That's
head
super-
down. And when he goes up to like a scratcher meet or anything in
Yeah.
Vancouver, like people shit. They're like, where
That's
the hell
awesome.
did
Where
you
even
come
did
from?
you come from?
But he's
Yeah.
been that kid 8 years, head down, like
Yeah.
learning, like
Truly
you know,
doing it for the
Yeah.
passion
Totally,
of
and like
doing it.
he's world class level. Like he really
That's
is.
one thing that I'm super
So-
struggling with. Like, I'm only just starting to like get into producing and you know
It's
like
a
making
big,
my own
steep,
music.
Yeah, the
it's a
learning curve.
steep learning curve. I've learned what I needed to, like the basics of Ableton sort of thing, but now
Yeah.
it's coming down to like, I'm a very, very extroverted person,
Yeah.
so it takes a lot for me to be like, hey, it's a
down.
weekend. How do we
gonna curl
not
up in
go
my
out
room
and
for
hang out with
6
people?
days.
It takes a lot for me to finally like sit down and do the thing. Once I'm doing the thing, I'm totally fine with it.
Maybe that means you're more collaborative. Like you need people to be in that room, in that space
for
with
sure.
you to like bouncing ideas off.
Absolutely, yeah. Like
then
the
it keeps
last couple tracks that I've been working on, like our buddy Eric,
Yeah.
fucking
Matters.
Gray Matters, yeah. He's been helping me a lot and like teaching me new stuff, and it really does help like being in the room with somebody else. But there's
Totally.
also something
Keeps you
so like
focused.
something so magical about when I actually do sit down by myself and I recognize that like this is a good thing that I'm doing, like you
Yeah.
know, light candles, Palo Santo, like whatever just like makes me
Yeah.
focus in, just take that time for myself, because I don't give myself that opportunity a lot.
It's well, that's like I'm kind of I'm not really into I haven't practiced meditation that much, but like I
I've
think
tried.
I think it's kind of the same thing where like you're really more in the moment, like doing
Yeah.
something, and you're not like any action you're doing, you're not actually gauging the time of that
Yeah.
action. Like if you know what I mean, you're actually just
Yeah.
doing it.
When you
Well, like,
actually get
kinda-
like saturated and like swallowed by it.
Exactly.
The
that's
common
when you start.
misconception about meditation is that like when people sit down, you have to completely clear your mind of all thoughts. You're just supposed to be thoughtless, and that's
Yeah.
totally not true. When you sit down and meditate, your thoughts come, you analyze them, and then whatever you need to deal with, you
Move
let
on,
go.
yeah.
But meditation can come in different forms, whether it's painting, whether it's making music.
Totally.
Anything that you put your entire energy and focus onto is a form of meditation.
Yeah, my friend Jillian, she was just traveling, I think it was South America, and we had this really cool chat about that, where just like, finding that, I can't remember what she was saying, it was like, just a fancier way of saying being in the moment, as
Yeah.
corny
Yeah.
as that could sound, but like,
Yeah.
really like not gauging time, not like being worried about like how
Just
long.
being present.
Yeah, and it's just like, it was saying that like, it was relating that to like kind of true happiness of like where,
Yeah.
or like bliss, where,
Yeah.
you know.
That's one of the
It's a bit
things that
deep.
I like kind of dislike about the whole like Burning Man community is that like they really look down on you for taking pictures. You go to festivals and like you're on your phone, you're taking
Right.
pictures. Like no, just like be there in the moment. But at the same time, like you can be there in the moment and still take a picture and then be able
Yeah.
to, you know, a week later look back at these pictures and
Yeah.
be there in the moment remembering that previous
Yeah, and like
moment.
it's so funny. It's all in moderation, right? There's
Yeah.
people who will Snapchat their entire day.
You know, I'm so
and
addicted
that's like,
to
come
Snapchat,
on.
I won't lie.
But whereas like I was just in Vancouver and my friends took me on a bike ride down the Seawalk for the first time, and I was that dude like snapping every corner because I was genuinely like mind blown. It was
Yeah.
a perfect
Well,
day.
see,
and like,
that's the thing is like the intention behind it is that like you're seeing seeing beauty and you want to share it with your friends.
Yeah.
So
But also
I don't
Snapchat-
think that you should chastise that as much as like
some people
Snapchat
just-
is a weirder thing though, because like Snapchat is more of a like, it's more of an app where it's like, hey, look at what I'm doing right
Yeah,
now.
it is.
It's not necessarily you
fleeting,
taking
too.
pictures for yourself because they just disappear. You're presenting them to other people.
Yeah, it actually
you know?
wasn't. I don't even think it was that at the beginning. It was like send your friends ridiculous shit that
Oh,
they
yeah.
can't save.
Here's an ad
and
for
it was
dick
the funniest
pics.
thing. Literally, yeah, and like flirting, and which I don't know. People actually flirt using Snapchat. It's just.
No,
seems
I don't
kinda-
know a single girl who has actually been turned on by a dick pic.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've actually
that's a-
had like random ass people that I don't even know send me dick pics. It's like, really?
It's like that's super weird, but it's
Yeah.
confident. That's
Oh,
good.
props
That's
to you for
attractive.
having confidence,
confident,
but
but
like,
penises are not attractive. You can put them in any
they're just
frame
like
you
this
want.
weird external thing that like flaps around.
I love where this conversation went
How
to.
did- yeah.
You ever see
Records to
Robert Williams? Fucking
Robin?
Robin, sorry, I've been
May
drinking.
he rest in peace.
May
Yeah.
he, indeed. But weapons of self-destruction, he does this bit talking about like where the fuck did even genitals come from. He's talking about like a committee of people sitting around a table like discussing how they're supposed to be designed. Just like, oh well, like what should we do for the testicles? Like we need to give them some sort of coordination when they like bounce around. Just like two coconuts bouncing around.
That's awesome. His bit on golf is like amazing
Yeah, dude.
too. Like
19 or 18
yeah, 18
fucking times.
Yeah.
His bit about like fucking it was either for baseball, it was either a pitcher or a batter or something that like, no, he pitched a no hitter high as fuck on acid, and he's like talking
I
about
don't
like
remember that at all.
like what do you even like? First of all, you're looking like at the grass on the ground, like little tiny
Oh,
villages.
yeah,
You're
I know.
just like stepping on them, like sorry.
Yeah, I think
You're
I
looking at
remember.
the baseball glove, like this mouth, like.
Yeah, no, he was talking about a baseball pitcher, like a major league baseball pitcher that apparently had like almost a perfect game, and he was high as fuck on acid for
Yeah.
for the game. And he, like afterwards, he was just
The
like,
bat like turns into a
Yeah.
snake, like.
Oh my God, that's crazy. How did he not crack under?
Couldn't even imagine.
I don't know. I mean, some people are confident with psychedelics, right?
Like
Some people just dial
there's
right
friends
in.
of ours that like they'll like DJ on like mushrooms or acid or anything like that. I'm like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, just like
I-
fall apart at the seams.
I just found like my perfect balance of drinking when I DJ.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
I'm like past that mark, like I'm hitting wrong cue points.
Yeah.
Like I'm hitting the turntable, and it's like
yeah.
That's
it's
the
just
funny thing
you
about
have to
drinking.
focus.
You got your
Whether
lines,
it's
right?
like-
You got your rehearsal that you've put
Yeah.
together beforehand, and
Totally,
if you
yeah.
compromise your state of mind,
Whether it's pool at a bar or hacky sack or like anything that requires a certain amount of skill, there's a perfect balance of like just that regular point of tipsy,
Yeah.
and you kick all of the ass that you
Yeah.
would normally be able to do. But then as soon as you take another sip, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like just the confidence juice, and then
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of which, man, like earlier the podcast we did with QMEC Productions with Mike and Chris, like they brought a
They built
bottle
this
of
thing.
Patron
It's
and a bunch of cups, and we
beautiful.
just like slamming tequila the whole way through, and I'm like,
They're just
man,
like, do a half shot. It's like, that's not a half shot.
we're sitting here just like, man, we have shit to do. Like,
Yeah.
I think I'm okay now.
I'm okay now after I napped right there, and that
Yeah.
was gnarly because all I'm hearing is
Yeah.
like these things, like this guy gave a lesson here, and then I'm
Yeah.
also hearing your guys' Star Wars Game of Thrones talk, and I was like, I want to be in that conversation so
Yeah.
bad. But I
So
need
long
to.
as like festival naps are interesting because like you'll go to
Yeah.
lay down, but like even if there's somebody talking or something going on, it's again like almost kind of meditative, like something that you can focus on to help you sleep.
Yeah.
Like even if you're sober as fuck and you just need to take a nap, and you know that like you're tired but you can't sleep, something to focus on to like stop your mind
Totally,
from
yeah.
doing the thinking thing.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think that's actually what helped. At one point, I was literally hearing
Yeah.
both ends, and I was just like, wow, this is.
Even so
Nice.
long as you give your body the rest. Like I remember like super young, like beginning of high school, like really getting into drugs and, you know,
yeah?
ecstasy and all that stupid shit.
Like a good Christian girl.
A good Christian girl. But like, you know, school gets out, me and a bunch of my friends, you know, like drop a pill or whatever, and then you have to go back home to your parents, pretend like you're sick so you don't have to talk to them, and then go to sleep to go to school the next day. The one thing that I learned from all of that terrible experience is that like even if you don't necessarily sleep, your body is still lying down. It's still getting the rest, kind of.
Well, they say like falling asleep drunk is like you're not
actually hitting REM sleep.
Yeah, it's not that good. Yeah,
it's a super deep sleep.
Have you ever heard about like when you get in a car accident when you're drunk, like the people that are actually like sufficiently intoxicated
they
end
tend
up
to
with less bodily injuries because they
don't tense up.
They just like, I don't know, flow with it, like roll into it.
Totally.
Apparently more often you don't tense up and.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I hit a moose like going like 85.
really?
Once too.
Head on.
85.
Yeah, like I didn't break. Like
Dude,
mooses are
like,
fucking dinosaurs.
That could be the end of your life.
If I showed you guys the photo, you would lose your. Like when paramedics showed up, they were like, "Are you serious?" Like,
were you hurt? Was anybody hurt?
Not at all. My airbag didn't go off. Like I just ducked like this. My thing, entire car.
We saw a moose on the way out.
Almost. It was like fully caved in and it flew over and
holy shit, man.
Yeah, it was.
You have a crazy
really
moose
gnarly.
hitting story.
But it was not that crazy.
But it was what was like weird about it though is looking like I honestly do feel like I had a premonition leading up to it because my CD player was broken and I was on my way to my friend's birthday and all I remember like about 2 blocks before I hit the moose being like this feels sketchy. I was like fixing it and keeping my eyes on the road. I'm like, why isn't my CD player working? This feels weird. This thing always works, and then all of a sudden I just look up and it's right there.
Oh
and
my
I just
God!
Flinched, and it was like, man, if my CD player wasn't, or if it was working, or like the circumstances were perfect. And so talking about like injuries when you tense up or whatever, it was so quick. I didn't have time to really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm honestly just thinking of like Marjorie in Game of Thrones, just like where the fuck is Cersei? She's not here. Something's wrong. We need to get out.
Great.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry. I didn't spoil anything.
No. You know what though? It's been what? It's been almost a week. That's their fault.
Yeah, it's been a week, but at the same time.
Yeah, but still,
like Michelle that we're camped with, like she hasn't even touched season 6 yet.
Wow.
So,
hey. So does she wait for it to all be released?
No, she's just been so busy. Like she's been scattered.
You know what's super shitty about people who don't watch Game of Thrones is they really need to let you know the fact that they are not interested or
vegan.
just don't watch it. Yeah. I just really need to let you know that I'm vegan right now.
Well, it's funny. I was just at like a really late night hot pot with some friends, and they had I was just getting off work, so I'm still wound up.
Wait, what is a hot pot? I know I've heard this term before.
It's like a buffet of like you order different broths and meats and noodles, and you just cook it in a bowl like on your table.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was really disappointed. It was so much work for a very mediocre bowl of soup.
Yeah.
Like seriously. And maybe it was just the place we went. But like I've done Korean barbecue, like all these other things where it's more interactive.
No, it's like an Asian buffet
and it's amazing.
thing, right?
This is like you choose your broth, you get sauces, and you just kind of toss it all in there.
I remember actually seeing, now that I'm thinking about it, I remember seeing a hot pot and like the people that were sitting at the table across from us, like this massive pile of spinach on this hot. Like, you know when you cook spinach, it's just like yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Speaking of which, we haven't eaten in like fucking 10 hours, have we?
Wow,
we've been chilling.
I had to go have one of those pulled pork sandwiches at
Fire Creek.
Yeah, I think it's
I've had a number of those pulled pork sandwiches.
So good.
They usually have like an antique popcorn machine too, and they do like theater popcorn out of festivals, but they don't have it apparently here.
Well, it would get out of hand with like birds and like if you like spill, drunk people spilling popcorn and shit. I love popcorn though.
Oh, seriously, I'm like the popcorn master.
Yeah, I think that's why like popcorn is the main reason why I got into movies at a young age. I think that's why. It's like why I found a passion because it was just like I need this beautiful snack, and what do I do with this beautiful snack? I watch movies, and that was secondary.
I get shit from him and his family all the time. Like, he grew up in like a super movie buff family, and as a kid, I went outside.
Well, I did both.
So like all of the movies, like every single time, it's just like, you've never seen this movie? How have you never seen this movie? It's like, I don't know. I like played with grass and stuff. Like,
I was lucky. I had like a bit of both. Like grew up skateboarding, so 10 hours a day, like working my ass off doing that. And then winter time, it was like movie time. I don't know. I found movies more in end of high school, I think.
My parents watched a lot of soap operas, like Young and the Restless and Grey's
that would
Anatomy.
turn you off TV for sure. Yeah,
that's too bad. My grandma did, like when she babysat me when I was in like elementary school, and I remember going over there and just like everything stopping. The Young and the Restless is on.
Yeah, that's the same with my parents. I'd come home from school and like it would already be on. I'd like try to talk to them. They'd just be like, shh.
I don't know.
That's so funny.
Well, in the world that we live in right now, like we've got these fantasy stories that are incredibly well crafted, like Game of Thrones, right?
Totally.
They're engaging. It's suspenseful. It's
way better.
Beautiful story. But then there's things like Young and the Restless, and you're just like, how
it's the same shit. Like, oh, who's cheating on somebody else now? Like,
no, but I think TV. Like, actually, it was Jake Roberts. This is so funny. He was telling me like it was the year that Game of Thrones was gonna premiere, and he was like, man, we are in such a good state of television right now. He read some like big posting about like the next couple shows that were going to come out in 2009 or maybe 2008 to 2010.
Yeah.
We're going to change the game, and like in terms of budgets, like we're going to see A-list actors like signing up.
Yeah.
It was going to be like millions of dollars an episode, and like it was no longer about like, oh, let's do a really good movie. It was like, let's do a really good 10-episode series.
Yeah. See, here's the thing: is like you take a movie like Lord of the Rings tried to push the budget with like, this story needs more time to be told, so they were doing 3.5 hour movies, right, or the extended cuts, right? But then you have an episode or a series like Game of Thrones where you're telling the same format of story. You're like the same depth of character development, the same storyline, but you're actually using 10 hours to tell the story rather than 3 or rather than 1.5. And the books still do expand on it more, but I feel like the series format of HBO and what's going on.
Walking Dead too, like that one kind of went down a little bit, but actually my buddy who's like a huge movie guy was saying like the actual political side of it all with Walking Dead especially, like they lost the majority of their budget after season 1, and like have you guys seen it?
I've seen like
1 or 2 seasons, and I kind of
first season's amazing. Like you're seeing these like high budget kind of shots, like when they're in like the city, like
but it's like, just quit while you're ahead, you know, like stop trying to draw it out.
Well,
like
that's another thing. Have you ever heard of Battlestar Galactica?
I have, yeah.
So that was like the Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones, I would say, like the big show that was like
revered.
And apparently they were offered like an absurd amount of money to do another season, and they were like, no. Like, this is how our story is. Like, we know it's good.
Well, like relating back to talking about how like series or movies that are related to books, like I'm thinking of Harry Potter right now because I remember growing up, like I only read the first 3 books, but there's like a very pivotal character in the Harry Potter books. His name is Peeves. He's a poltergeist. He's a pretty pivotal character that's just like not even mentioned at all in the movies.
And it's funny. I've read all those books multiple times, but I can't even remember Peeves. It's been a while now.
Yeah.
But I recognize the name.
Yeah.
But
he's a poltergeist. He's in Hogwarts and he stirs up some shit.
In the end, like I'm actually just like really happy with the movie. So like I don't know. Like some people were really mad about it, but like I still think they nailed a lot of the things they had to nail.
I haven't seen like.
And I like that it got darker. Like it did actually turn.
Well,
into,
and the actors grew up. We were having this conversation before, like with.
I haven't seen anything past the first 2.
Yeah, I tried to show him. Well, I tried to show him Harry Potter because like when I was a kid, like same age as Daniel Radcliffe, sort of thing. Like you grow up with the character.
Totally.
Super obsessed with Harry Potter, and then I think I only saw up to the 4th or 5th movie or whatever.
Yeah.
And I tried to show it to Tanner, and looking back on those movies,
the first 2 movies suck.
I know.
No, they're brutal. Yeah. But that's when they were
it's
like.
also like when you're that young and you're that into it, the characters are super young too.
But
you know, like the actors are super young.
When she was writing those books, it was for that generation, and it was a younger generation, and so.
And also the actors
some of my
are
friends
older,
who were never they bashed it. I was like, I promise you, like start at number 3, and
Yeah,
it will noticeably
totally.
get way more adult
Absolutely.
themed, and you will fall in love with it.
I'll
like
pick it up because
you will, man. Like the 3rd movie is like noticeable. Even the 3rd book is noticeably better than all of them. Like,
different.
And even like you start seeing like their personality a lot more.
Yeah.
Like they're actually people and not like these random kind of UK
We were
kids.
just having.
The camera says full.
Oh shit! Well, we're still talking. We're actually like just having this conversation.
We should have like a funny cut shot of like us laughing.
Yeah,
and that'll just be the rest of the.
We were just having this conversation with MK and Chris about like how, you know, like the first 2 movies, like the characters being so young and the director that they were working with, the only plot device that existed was, well, now what do we do? Oh no, this is a problem. Like, now what do we do?
No, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And
But
like
also-
Harry kind of being a hero, but then you start seeing his human side.
Yeah.
Like when he it gets really dark. Like Order of the Phoenix 5, where he kind of turns into like a loner. He's just like he saw Cedric die, and the 4th one he's just like fuck all of you. Like you don't
We're
even
just talking
realize
about how much
like
Cedric is a babe.
Cedric, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's cool. Anyways, it is 6:30, and you want to go catch your friend's set?
I do, yeah, and you know I'm also kind of nervous that this is not looking good.
I know, it's definitely supposed to rain at some point today.
Have to do a prepare.
Let's do a prepare.
Fuck, that was
The
fun.
camera cut out.
That's fun. Maybe we'll do round 2.
Round 2 maybe in Calgary next time we bring you.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
I think we're gonna focus on like just New Year's. I think we might do Halloween, but I want to take a break because like getting married and all these festivals this
congrats, by the
summer.
way.
Thank you. Those
photos look awesome.
We're really looking for some downtime to just not have to worry
We've
about
had no
planning anything,
downtime.
so.
Totally,
no honeymoon, no like post-marital bliss.
But
except for this.
We
okay?
will for
Now.
sure
Harry
be.
Potter talk.
We will for sure be doing the Astral Harvest pre-party next year, and I think we should rekindle for that.
That'd be sweet, man. I would
Yeah.
love to play that.
Down? Do you have a
Yeah,
ma-
and I'm
do-
glad to hear that you guys enjoyed that one.
Oh yeah, even there
I'm
was.
competitive. I do try to steal the show.
Yeah.
I feel I want it. But it's cheers, buddy.
Oh, he doesn't have a cheers.
It was an amazing
worries.
set, and that was it. I like that venue. Like the Legion is.
Oh my God,
you
it
can
was
do
so
so
cool.
much with that.
Hey, I'm playing actually there in August with that Jay guy who does the Cirque stuff. Or like, do you know who that is?
Bass Caravan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
sweet.
All the photos look amazing, and
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
what to expect. But
Oh yeah, they do
I
things
heard
good.
it's like I
Shout
heard
out
it's
to
like
Bass
a
Caravan.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
definitely. If the Bass Caravan, I don't know where are we gonna. If we cross paths with them, we should sit down with them.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think he's here?
I don't think so. I think like
Okay.
most of the circus like fire stuff that's going on is the Edmonton crew transflowmation.
Okay.
Well, and also like they hosted like a couple of like just like fire safety workshops where like you come and you attend the workshop and then you sign your name down so that like they know that you can like go and actually do the thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm pretty stoked we filled the camera. That means we've like
We've done the
this
thing.
is the first day that we've been out at a festival that we've really like hammered out.
Inshallah
some
was
content.
rainy. We couldn't podcast a
It's
lot.
like 3.5 hours worth of video.
Yeah.
That's good. And it's
So-
I like that it's like probably uncut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
very raw. 'cause
Oh, yeah.
You guys ever watch comedians in cars getting coffee?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man,
totally.
that's like my new favorite shit. And it's just
Yeah.
like, I mean, that is cut, but still, just watching
Yeah.
them shoot the shit and
Yeah.
seeing some
Well,
of
we
like,
take a lot of inspiration from like Joe Rogan, Duncan Trussell,
oh
like their
man,
podcast.
my
It's
friend is so loyal to Joe Rogan right now. He has not watched an episode every morning.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just
It's
dives
good
in.
content,
Oh,
like-
Yeah.
it is.
Just sit down and have a conversation with somebody who's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Doesn't even
kinda-
matter like if
He had
you
Russell
if you
Brand
do
on just
music or if
recently.
you
No,
do whatever.
that's the one he was watching that where I was
Yeah.
like, man, this is really good. But I like that. Almost some I like television, like some of my favorite shows where you can just kind of be brain dead and laugh, whatever.
Yeah.
But those shows are always kind of stimulating and
Yep.
almost wake you up a little
Yeah,
bit.
they
Or,
make
like-
you think about.
yeah.
To be able to listen to it like while you're driving or taking the bus or train
Yeah.
to like work or whatever, like
My buddy's been preaching audiobooks too, right? Just the same thing.
Yes.
Instead of watching Netflix, throw an audiobook on and
It's
just like cook
Just
with it or something.
fill your time with like you can
Useful
multitask.
shit,
Like,
yeah.
like I work pretty solo at work as a finish carpenter,
Yeah.
and like I can listen to 6 hours of
how
podcasts a day.
ADD are we as a generation? It's like I'm already
That's what
doing
I'm
this
worried.
thing.
That's what I'm worried, and it's just you know. But oh,
Just
well.
craving content all the time.
Totally,
right?
yeah.
Just consuming.
All right, this content is
All right,
full though.
all right.
Let's
Yeah.
sign it
Yeah,
off.
we filled up. This has been amazing.
Thank you guys.
Good
Signing
talk.
out.
Good talk.
Friday
That was good, yeah.
at Astral Harvest.
Yeah. No more podcasts this weekend.
No more. No. Well, maybe tomorrow.
Tonight's our party
I
night.
don't know. We got. I think we got.
We have to
stuff
wake
done
up
today.
early on Sunday. Tonight's our party
Whatever.
night.
If we
There
come
we
back
go.
tomorrow, we come back tomorrow. But
Yeah.
thank you for closing this out. You still
Yeah.
gonna go to the beach or you?
I'm gonna go check out the beach.
I wanna
yeah.
check out beach.
I'm gonna run over there though.
Yeah.
Beat this
Alright, well,
cloud.
Yeah, we'll
I
meet
wish
you
you the
there. We
best.
gotta tear down and shit.
Sounds good.
I wish you absolutely the best, man.
Thank you guys.
You're a
Fun.
gem.
Same. Fuck. Honestly, it's always good to just kick it with you guys. This was a good conversation.
It's good.
Cheers.
Yeah.
All
Cheer-
right.
I wish I need a beer.
We're on our last, but signing out. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Peace.